Oh, hey everybody. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. I miss you very much. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, you're wondering why Mr. Ransom is in Las Vegas. Well, believe it or not, the answer has everything to do with you. That's right. Our next unit is Westward expansion. And we're going to learn about how the United States went from these 13 states on the East Coast all the way to a nation that stretches from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, from sea to shining sea. Well, it's a long journey, but I'm glad to take you with me. I hope it's okay with your parents. Anyway, I'm going to go check out the Las Vegas Strip, and you check out how the United States got Florida. That'll be our first stop. Peace!
But before we get to Florida, to understand this unit of westward expansion, you have to understand the attitude of many in the United States in the 1800s. In the mid-1800s, a newspaper editor used the term manifest destiny to describe the idea that westward expansion was for the good of the country and the God-given right of the country. That's right, manifest destiny. Manifest meaning something that's obvious, and destiny meaning something that will happen, like your fate. To many in the 1800s, expanding this country from Atlantic to Pacific, sea to shining sea, was the obvious fate, or manifest destiny of the United States. No matter who was in the way, the United States was heading west. Watch out, Native Americans. Watch out, Spain. Watch out, Britain. Watch out, Mexico. Did I mention Native Americans? Look out. All had to make way. The United States had begun its western march of domination.
Hey, it's you again. I'm here in sunny Florida. I bet you're wondering why I'm here in Florida. Well, if you remember, the United States doubled in size when President Jefferson bought Louisiana from France, right? So shortly after that, the United States was moving in on Florida. But Florida belonged to, I can't remember, it wasn't one of the 13 colonies. I thought I felt something for a second. Oh yeah, Spain. Florida belonged to Spain. Let's find out what happened there. How did the United States acquire or get Florida? Hey, if you see any gators, let me know. I shouldn't be in any danger at all, but just keep an eye out for me. Whoa, got a big one.
How the United States acquired Florida. Georgia was the most southern state in all of the United States during the early 1800s. Travel any further south, and you've left the United States and entered into Spanish Florida. No one was more aware of this fact than the thousands of enslaved people who toiled in the Georgian heat from can't see in the morning till can't see at night. Freedom in Spanish Florida waited just across the Georgia-Florida border. Yes, Florida had been claimed by Spain, but the Spanish hadn't really done much to organize the territory. Many enslaved African Americans who ran to Florida were welcomed and allowed to join into Seminole and Choctaw Native American villages. When slave hunters made their way into the interior of Florida, they were often turned back by African American and Native Americans who fiercely and ferociously defended their land and freedom. The runaway African Americans and Native Americans were able to thrive behind the protective walls of a fort called Fort Gadsden. It was a leftover British fort from the War of 1812. It was located strategically along the banks of the Apalachicola River. That's right, I said Apalachicola. Enter General Andrew Jackson, slave owner and self-proclaimed Indian killer. He would be the man for this job. The United States wanted Florida, and they relied on General Jackson to get it. The Army was sent, supported by the U.S. Navy, deep into Florida's interior. Their mission was simple: take down Fort Gadsden, or as they referred to it, the Negro Fort. After an exchange of fire, a shot from the American forces made a direct hit on the fort's magazine room, the room that stored all of the fort's gunpowder. The fort was destroyed in a flash. Most of the fort's defenders died. Not long after the defeat at Fort Gadsden, Spain realized it could not keep the United States out of Florida. In 1819, the United States acquired Florida by signing a treaty with Spain. Florida was now firmly in the hands of the growing United States of America.
Oh, howdy, y'all. Howdy. I reckon I'll give you one guess of where I am right now. You're right, Texas. Here to tell you the story about how Texas became a state. Well, this Texas traffic here sure is tough, but I reckon me and my old pal here get on across that with no problem. Nothing like the traffic at home now, is it? All right, well here, I'll tell you the story of Texas while I wait to cross the street. Enjoy. I'll see you a little later. Whoa, easy, Bessie.
Yee-haw!
I know. We're supposed to talk about Texas now, but we can't discuss Texas without a brief lesson in Mexican history. As you recall, Spain claimed a vast amount of land from North America through Central America down to South America. And you do recall what they called this land, right? This vast empire of Spain? That's right. They called it New Spain. Spain ruled New Spain from the 1500s to the 1800s. Well, the Native Americans, the mestizos, and Africans who worked there to make New Spain and Spain rich, they grew tired of the mistreatment at the hands of the Spaniards, and they unified to fight for independence. This was called the Mexican Revolution, and guess what? Spain lost. A new free republic was born in 1821. To honor their great past, they called themselves an old Native American Aztec word, Mexico, and created a flag with a symbol that recalled the early beginnings of that great Aztec empire. Whew. Got it? Good. Now we can talk Texas. Do you mind? Can I get a yee-haw?
Yee-haw!
Any new nation needs to do what? Raise something. Oh, raise revenue. So the new country of Mexico decided to make an offer to their northern neighbors in the United States that many simply couldn't refuse. They were offering cheap and at times free farmland to Americans willing to come and live in the region of Mexico called Texas, or Texas. Now, all the settlers had to do was pay taxes, become Catholic Christians, learn Espanol, and Mexico said no slavery allowed. By 1836, an estimated 38,000 settlers from the United States had taken Mexico up on their offer to move to the Texas region of Mexico.
Yee-haw!
So many that the United States settlers actually outnumbered Mexicans in the Texas region. Most never bothered to pay taxes. Most had not become Catholics. And do you think they bothered to learn Spanish? Let me answer that in Spanish. No. I apologize if I seem to be showing off.
Yee-haw!
And the no slavery allowed thing, yeah, they ignored that too. Stephen F. Austin, an outspoken Texas settler and leader, approached the Mexican president, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, and asked that Texas be allowed to just break away from Mexico and become independent. Santa Anna replied flatly, "No way, Jose." When the United States settlers continued to not cooperate with the Mexican government and ignore Mexico's laws, Santa Anna took off his president's hat and put on his general hat, then led the Mexican army to kick the United States settlers out of Texas if they refused to not keep up their end of the bargain. When they finally arrived in the Texas region, about 200 U.S. settlers took refuge in an old abandoned Spanish mission called the Alamo.
Yee-haw!
"Come out with your hands up," Santa Anna demanded. Well, something like that. But the defenders refused. Among them was Jim Bowie and famous frontiersman Davy Crockett. After 13 days, the Mexican army finally decided, let's stop messing around, and they stormed the Alamo and killed nearly all of the 200 defenders. That ought to teach them a lesson, thought President General Santa Anna. Not so. 6 weeks later, the U.S. settlers, led by Sam Houston, launched a surprise attack on the Mexican army while they napped, riding in screaming loudly, "Remember the Alamo! Remember that! Don't forget that! Remember the Alamo!"
Yee-haw!
The U.S. settlers killed everything that moved. In 18 minutes, over 600 Mexicans were killed, 208 wounded, and 730 captured, while the U.S. settlers lost 6 people. President General Santa Anna was captured in his red slippers from his nap. The Texas settlers, led by Sam Houston, forced Santa Anna to give Texas its independence. Naturally, Texas would become the United States' newest state, right? No. There's a saying in Texas, and it goes something like this: everything's bigger in Texas.
Yee-haw!
So Texas decided to go big time. They became their own independent nation, with Sam Houston serving as their first president. They called themselves the Lone Star Republic. Hey, Lone Star, that must be why the Dallas Cowboys, America's team and the world's most valuable sports team at $5.5 billion, has one star on the side of their helmet. And speaking of everything being bigger in Texas, that must be why the Cowboys Stadium has the biggest HD screen on planet Earth. Oh, and that stadium is the biggest indoor stadium in the world, seating over 100,000 people with a retractable roof, so that God can see his favorite team play, of course. Okay, all right, breathe, Ransom, breathe. Sorry. Back to the Lone Star Republic. Texas would rule itself for 9 years until 1845, when Texas was annexed or added to the United States, becoming the 28th state. Can I get a yee-haw? Come on now, everybody at the same time. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Yee-haw!
Yee-haw!
And that's the story of how Texas became part of the United States. Manifest Destiny, America's growth spurt, continues.
Wow, Balloon, it's the only way I'll travel. I'm headed out to Oregon country for part 2 of our video lecture. I hope you enjoyed part 1 and you're learning some stuff. I wish you all could be with me. Balloon, it's the only way I'll travel. I just hope the wind stays with me. Anyway, I'll see you for part 2. And don't forget, manifest destiny! See you soon!
Yee-haw!